Hey, we did it. We made it through a Monday. We're on to a Tuesday. It's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley here on the NCW Live channel. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Eric Granstrom filling in for Dan Kuntz for the rest of the week as we celebrate apple blossoms beginning. I know it might seem a little odd to look at the snow on the surrounding hills and talk about past closures and all that, and in the same breath talk about apple blossom, but the selection pageant is coming up this Saturday for the Royal Court to represent the festival and the Wenatchee Valley for 2021. And we'll have that live. We'll have a couple of candidates coming in again this morning. A little bit later on, we'll talk about that coming up. Also, on this Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, we'll, of course, run you down on what's happening weather-wise. A crazy weather week with different things happening during the day as there is during the night. And as you get out and about this morning, be careful. Some of the rains that fell overnight last night might be freezing on area roads this morning, especially parking lots and sidewalks. Might be a little slick out there, so be careful about that. Good news is we have one of the passes, well, actually two of those east-west passes open. Stephen's still closed. We'll talk more about that, what's happening in the latest with the news department. Our sports news, of course, Mike Magnotti with his opinion, and a lot to come here on a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Speaking of the Royalty Selection Pageant, later on this morning, we're going to introduce you to a couple of the candidates. Olivia Fonville is the first of which whom you'll meet, and I got a chance to interview her a few weeks ago. Olivia's the daughter of Jason and Shelley Fonville. We'll talk to her, and then Tatum Kentnor will also join us. She's the daughter of Tracy Trotter and Todd Kentnor. That will come the last half of the program here this morning on a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. But as we do every morning, we'll first start things off with a look around the Valley View cameras. Thanks to Localtel's Sky-Fi wireless network, and there you see it. It is definitely a demarcation of the freezing level, snow level, and what's happening below. What happened below last night was a ton of rain. In fact, we got a record rainfall yesterday here for the Wenatchee Valley. Talk more about that with your forecast coming up in just a few moments. But a good morning to Wenatchee. We do still have some light breezes out there this morning, but dry conditions and fairly calm morning so far. That's our cross camera this morning, taking a look down at the valley. Camera 2 will take us to the lovely town of, is that Cashmere down below? Okay. Which is it? Oh, Steins Hill. Okay, different view of Cashmere this morning. And a little sliver of the snaking Wenatchee River off to the left. And you see the sun's glow starting to warm up the mountains off to the west of us here for the Wenatchee Valley. And a good morning to Cashmere and the Upper Valley this morning. Camera 3 will take us, thanks to Sky-Fi Wireless Network, to Lake Chelan this morning as we look across over towards Manson and Wapato Point, and it looks a little breezy out on Lake Chelan this morning. You can see that tree in the foreground there on the right. It's kind of fluttering in the breeze. You can see the camera shaking just a little bit, so some leftover winds, although it's supposed to be, according to the forecast, a little calmer today, but still some remnants of those winds in the higher elevations. That's looking from Chelan Butte up to the, well, I guess you'd say that's northwest as you look off towards the Cascades, and I can't quite see the Sawtooth Range there, but good look at what's happening at the higher elevation too. Yeah, with some snow. We'll talk about that with the past conditions. Camera 4 will take us to a view this morning of, is that Pateros? Is that up at Billy Goat? Okay. And you see there's a little riffle on the water in the upper regions as well for the Columbia River. Gorgeous look this morning at a sleepy Okanagan County and off towards the mountains looking towards Canada this morning. Hello and good morning to Bridgeport and to Brewster and to Pateros and to our friends north of us in Okanagan County. It's a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. So what's happening as far as the weather forecast is concerned? Well, that's okay. We back? Hello. We're here somewhere. I promise. It's okay. Sometimes those buttons, you know, they get kind of close together and stuff happens, so don't worry about it. Okay, we're good with weather now? Weather. Hey, we have it. It's a 50% chance of weather today. We'll have mostly sunny skies after a few clouds this morning. The wind's supposed to be only about northwest 6 to 9. Still some remnants of what happened overnight last night. We had very gusty winds in the evening hours last night. 44 the expected high today for the Wenatchee Valley. Tonight we'll see clear skies with a low down to 26. So quite the change between the last few days and nights compared to what we're looking at tonight. Tomorrow is going to be a sunny Wednesday, high temperature of 44. The overnight low 30 on Wednesday nights with mostly clear conditions, but then some clouds moving in with a slight chance of rain or snow in the morning hours. That will leave way for partly cloudy, partly sunny skies in the afternoon, a high of 45. Same story for Thursday night with a few showers moving in. Could drop a few snowflakes, but really not expected any accumulations here for the Wenatchee Valley. The overnight low Thursday 32, so right around the freezing mark. Friday we're expecting the clouds and showers in the morning to move away to give us some sunshine in the afternoon, and 46. Looking at the weekend forecast, still holding on for a dry one this weekend, so if you want to get outdoors, not too bad. Temperatures in the mid-40s, nighttime lows in the upper 20s to around 30 degrees. As we look off into next week, the warm daytime temperatures, 45 for the high, 31 for the low, so not too bad. Our high yesterday for Wenatchee was 51 degrees. The overnight low was 34. We did have wind gusts to 33 miles per hour as this system kind of exhausted itself. 10 o'clock last night was that peak wind gust at 33 up at Pangborn Memorial Airport. I mentioned that we did have a record rainfall yesterday, 4/600ths of an inch, so nearly a half an inch of rain for the day. That's a record for that date here for the Wenatchee Valley. That gives us 0.8 of an inch of rain for the month and 2.44 inches of rainfall so far for 2021. So yeah, it's been kind of a wet one. Record high temperature for today was 63 degrees set in 1968. Record low 14 just a couple of years ago in 2019. Our sun rose this morning at 6:51. It will set tonight at 5:37. Rise tomorrow morning at 6:50 and set tomorrow night at 5:39. As far as the passes are concerned, let's take a look at what's happening up there right now. We did get Snoqualmie reopened, but Stevens is still closed. And if you are heading over the mountains, boy, I'll tell you, be prepared. Traction tires required. That means chains required for the big rigs. That is our view of Snoqualmie. So it is pretty nasty up there. Snowing, strong gusty winds, temperature of 29 at the summit at last report for Snoqualmie Pass. Stevens Pass this morning, still closed, but you'll see in this image we have, oh, that's a different one than I have here on the DOT website. But on the website earlier, I was looking at it, and it did show that they had lots of equipment that were trying to plow the roads and things like that. Still, though, the possibility of avalanche, and so they're going to reassess the situation this morning. Currently snowing, 33 degrees at the summit, but Stevens Pass is closed until further notice. Again, they hope to reassess that situation here this morning. Blewett Pass, also a little slick this morning if you need to get to north and south over Blewett with a traction advisory. Currently snowing and 28 degrees at the summit there. Yeah, that looks quite a bit slick there with snow and ice on the roadway at the summit of Blewett Pass. Also, for those that want to try to avoid and maybe head south and try to find better climbs, White Pass, traction requirement, change required for the big rigs, snowing and 33 there. So still lots of snowfall in the mountains. We're still in February and still looking at, icy conditions in the higher elevations of Washington. So be careful as you travel out and about, and we'll keep you abreast. If they do open Stevens Pass, we'll be sure and get that information to you, either here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley or especially during our newscast coming up tonight. Speaking of news, I will take a brief time out, and we will get to the latest from the NCW Life newsroom. It's on the way next for a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CBCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CBCH respects that.
At Winco, we do everything to save you money. Winco.
10 minutes after the hour here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for a Tuesday, the 23rd of February, 2021. Eric Granstrom filling in for Dan Kuntz here. We have sunshine in our forecast today, off to a clear start this morning. A little chilly out there, 36 degrees at Pangbourne Memorial Airport. Again, with the rainfall that fell overnight last night in some of the areas cooling down to the freezing area, you might expect some slick roads or especially sidewalks and parking lots, so be careful as you head out to work this morning. Taking a look at the latest local news here this morning. The Manson and Chelan areas were dealing with toppled trees and multiple power outages Monday morning after being hit by high winds overnight and into the morning hours. Chelan County POD had restored power to most customers by 8 o'clock in the morning, but we're still dealing with smaller outages until mid-morning. Manson firefighters reported early Monday morning also they responded to an electrical hazard near downtown Manson when a roof was blown off a structure and into a power line. There were no injuries, and PUD crews responded to repair the line. Chelan County Public Works Department reported a few trees down in the Manson area under the combination of wet soil and strong winds. In addition to the downed trees and power problems, Manson firefighters also responded to a cattail or reed fire between Dry Lake and Roses Lake yesterday morning. They reported that the fire was unreachable but not posing a threat to structures. Fire crews believe the fire was to burn itself out. Well, a procession through Cle Elum on Saturday paid tribute to Washington State Patrol Trooper Steve Huey, who died February 8th in an avalanche. The 51-year-old was a 28-year veteran of the State Patrol with most of his career spent in Kittitas County. Hooley died in the French Cabin Creek area when he and a friend were buried in a while snow biking. The friend was able to dig himself out that afternoon, but it wasn't until later that night that the rescue crews were able to find the trooper's body. Police arrested an 18-year-old East Wenatchee resident Friday morning on suspicion of possession of child pornography. East Wenatchee police arrested Tevin Lee Vallison, acting on a tip from the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Police Chief Rick Johnson says his officer served a search warrant on Vallison's home and seized his electronic devices. After his arrest, Vallison allegedly admitted to taking and possessing explicit photos of minors, as well as sexually molesting at least 2 victims in the last 3 years. He faces a possible 15 criminal counts. Police say Vallison was previously arrested on child pornography charges in 2018 when he was a juvenile. Well, the former Soap Lake Reserve police officer arrested in a chaotic DUI incident last week has a history of intoxicated driving arrests in his past. The Soap Lake Police Department fired canine handler Shane William Jones after he was arrested Thursday near Pasco. Jones allegedly crashed a Soap Lake PD car into a ditch, then struggled with Franklin County deputies and tried to release his dog during the incident. A review of court records shows Jones was fired by the Okanagan County Sheriff's Office after a DUI arrest in 2006, reinstated by an arbiter, and then resigned after a subsequent DUI. It was also fired from the Ferry County Sheriff's Office in 2007 for derogatory remarks about coworkers and citizens. Despite his record, Soap Lake PD hired him as a reserve officer late last year. He remained in the Franklin County Jail yesterday morning facing charges of assault, hit and run, DUI, possession of a stolen vehicle, and resisting arrest. He's due to be arraigned in Pasco on March 2nd. Well, with the region now in phase 2 of the state's COVID-19 reopening plan, entertainment options are returning to north central Washington. Eastmont Lanes opened its doors again at 3 yesterday afternoon with capacity limits for its restaurant, bar, arcade, and bowling alley. Reservations are being taken online for 1 hour of bowling with a maximum of 2 people per lane. In addition, Sunbasin Theaters announced its Gateway and Liberty Movie Theaters in Wenatchee will reopen Friday under the state guidelines. An estimated $2.2 billion is en route to Washington businesses and residents affected by the COVID pandemic. In our feature story, on Friday, Governor Jay Inslee signed the relief package into law to distribute emergency funding approved by Congress in December and includes $716 million for schools, $365 million in rental assistance, and $290 million for small business grants.
And because this is emergency legislation, it will take place immediately. As you know, the focus this year is relief, recovery, and resilience, and this legislation will make big progress in all 3. Washingtonians have been exemplary leading the country in the fight against the COVID pandemic. And we've had actually big success in that regard, but it has not come without economic and emotional costs associated with fighting a pandemic. But this process of getting to a post-pandemic era has just begun, and we intend to come out of this pandemic stronger, in part because of this legislation. This legislation continues much of the work that I and others have started in the months past. In December, I asked the legislature to act early on COVID relief legislation, which they have done with this bill. I want to go through some of the investments it makes in helping Washingtonians across these troubled waters. The bill allocates $714 million of assistance to K through 12 schools. And we are seeing progress in our schools, quite a number of our schools going back to on-site education, which we're very appreciative of. It also allocates $618 million for our public health response to the pandemic. This includes money for testing, for investigation, for contact tracing, and funding for our ongoing vaccination efforts, which are accelerating dramatically. The bill also dedicates $365 million for emergency eviction, rental, and utility assistance. This helps families to avoid homelessness. It helps landlords to continue the stream of revenue they need, and it's the right time to be doing it to help people who've had such difficulty during this pandemic.
17 minutes past the hour here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll see some sunshine today. Temperatures in the 40s. 44, our expected high today. We're off to a chilly start this morning with 36 here in downtown Wenatchee. We have more news coming your way tonight with Grant Olson from the News Center. In fact, Grant has a preview. Grant, what are we looking forward to tonight?
Thanks, and good morning, Eric. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, more wind and possibly more rain too in today's weather, and then nice for tomorrow. I'll have all the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And Eric, you'll tell us all about what's happening in sports. That and all the day's news headlines coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Eric?
Thank you much, Grant. Be sure and watch for that tonight, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock here on the Evening News. Now, you are an important part of what we do around here because you can let us know what's happening in your neighborhood. And if we don't have it on the newscast, then, well, that's because you didn't let us know. So get a hold of us. You can reach out to us directly. Email us, news@ncwlife.com. You can reach us through our website at ncwlife.com. You could message us through our Facebook page, which we hope you like and follow us while you're there. Or you could call our hotline at 888-NCWL. That's 888-6295. The myriad of ways that you can get a hold of us here in the news department at the NCW Life channel. We'll take a brief break. As Grant mentioned, I take care of the sports, and we'll do that coming up next on a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Stay right there.
When you think of Doghouse Motorsports, you might think of motorcycles, but there's a lot more in this house. How about Honda power equipment? From snowblowers to lawnmowers to generators and even water pumps, Honda is the brand that sets the standards. Perhaps you need an ATV or UTV. The Doghouse has the largest selection anywhere. Did we mention watercraft and snowmobiles? And of course, we have motorcycles too. Back it up with terrific customer service and you have Wenatchee's best motorsports store 5 years running. Isn't it time for you to be in the Doghouse?
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
20 minutes past the hour, clear skies and 36 degrees on this Tuesday, the 23rd of February, 2021. Eric Granstrom filling in for Dan Kuntz with sports here on the Wake Up Wenatchee Valley edition. Washington State's Noah Williams is the Pac-12 Player of the Week after an incredible performance against Cal and Stanford. The Pac-12 Network's PJ Carlesimo talks about Williams' ability to take control of games in which he plays.
I've been watching Noah play. Noah's from Seattle, where I live. He played at O'Day High School. I've watched him play for a long time. He makes it look easy, kind of glides, but he's very good getting point to point. Noah Williams, very quick off the dribble. He can get to the rim whenever he wants to. He's starting to see people a lot better when he does that. Look at the improvement in 1 year, Noah Williams. We're talking a sophomore. I mean, those numbers just jumped up, particularly the three-point field goals. Last year, he hardly ever shot the ball. 4 for 27 last year. He's 33 for 84 this year. That's incredible improvement. That's a lot of time spent in the offseason.
Noah was a guy a year ago that kind of earned his reputation on the defensive end, and now the offense coming alive in his sophomore year.
Now here we are in the third extra session. Noah Williams puts the Cougars up 9 and 40 points for Noah Williams. And he had a career best 32 against Cal on Thursday.
A star is born. Remember that name, Noah Williams.
Yeah, Noah Williams, not only the Pac-12 Player of the Week, but also the NCAA.com National Player of the Week. He averaged 28 points, 7 rebounds, and 5.3 assists in a 3-game span, including 36 in Washington State's first weekend sweep of the Bay Area schools since the 2011-12 season. Williams erupted for a career-high 40 points in a triple overtime victory over Stanford on Saturday. It marked the first 40-point performance in a conference contest since Andrew Andrews scored 47 for Washington back in March of 2016. Congratulations, Noah Williams, and go Cougs. We'll take a look at the men's basketball schedule for the week. It's a busy one. Washington makes up a game missed due to COVID-19 tonight at Arizona State at 6 o'clock on the Pac-12 Network. Huskies and Sun Devils will face off again Thursday at 4 o'clock on FS1. Also at 4, number 1 Gonzaga hosts Santa Clara on CBSSN. Then at 8 o'clock Thursday night, Washington State plays at Arizona, that on FS1. They'll switch sites Saturday. Washington plays at Arizona at noon. That's a big game on CBS. Washington State plays at Arizona State at 1:30 on the Pac-12 Network. Gonzaga hosts Loyola Marymount at 7 o'clock. That game is not even on TV. Slow week for the women this week in college sports. 21st ranked Gonzaga hosts Pepperdine Thursday at the McCarthy Athletic Center at 6 o'clock. They'll then host Loyola Marymount Saturday at 1. Louisville and Haley Van Lith will try to get back on the winning track in the ACC Sunday at 9 a.m. with a road game at Notre Dame. Washington plays at Washington State at 1 o'clock. Well, the Mariners are looking for a new CEO after Kevin Mather resigned Monday amid a controversy over remarks he made to a local Rotary Club were made public over the weekend. In the 46-minute clip, which was released by the Bellevue Breakfast Rotary Club's YouTube page, Mather openly discussed numerous sensitive topics, including paying an interpreter for players and big egos among young talent. Mariners chairman and managing partner John Stanton met with the media Monday afternoon and admitted to a trust level that has been lost that he and the team will have to work to rebuild.
Trust is built over time. It can be lost quickly, but it is built over time. And I know that many people in the organization, including me, have worked to build a trusting relationship with our players, the new players as they've arrived. I've certainly feel like I have a pretty good relationship with a number of the players that have been there, and that will be tested with the process over the next few days and over the next few months. But ultimately, Chris, the answer is that we're going to have to continue to work at it and work at it every day.
Now, Mather's comments also included a discussion about the Mariners offering their rising star Jared Kelenic a long-term deal, but being denied by Kelenic and his representative. Stanton says those are decisions to be made by Seattle's general manager and team manager.
The decisions in baseball are made by Jerry DiPoto and the baseball operations team. That has and will continue to be the case. The comments Kevin made notwithstanding. I believe that Jerry has and Scott has talked to Jared and will continue to. we view Jared to be an extraordinarily talented young man, and we are very much looking forward to having him in a Seattle Mariners uniform. Jerry and Scott will make that decision as to when.
Now, the video, which has been now removed from YouTube by that Bellevue Rotary Club, depicted Mather as perturbed at having to work extra within the organization to deal with foreign players and cultural differences. Stanton says the image portrayed by Mather, who has been with the Mariners organization since 1999, does not represent what Seattle is all about.
There were a number of comments made by Kevin that, as I've said, didn't reflect the Mariners, don't reflect what I believe, what our ownership believes, and were inappropriate. And those comments included some of the things that have been referenced with respect to our players, and in particular, the importance of diversity and inclusion in our organization. And we have that as a central value to the organization, and we will do everything we can to continue to deliver on that commitment.
Now, Stanton will serve as the club's acting president and CEO until a successor can be chosen. Well, meanwhile, on the field, catcher Tom Murphy is happy to be back in a Mariner uniform after missing the truncated 2020 season with a broken bone in his foot. He says he and the rest of the catchers have worked hard in the offseason on Zoom meetings, learning about Seattle's pitching staff.
Last year, it was very focused on us as catchers and how we can improve and the nuances of the game at the catching position. Whereas this offseason, we kind of took a different approach and we actually learned about our pitchers more than anything. So basically, we would take our time and go through 2 pitchers every Zoom call on Tuesday afternoons. And usually we take about 2 hours going through 2 pitchers. I mean, we were very thorough. By the end of it, you felt like you had caught the guy a few times. Like that was the type of understanding that we had based off the information we were receiving. So there was a lot of stuff to sift through in those meetings, and then we took our time and really explained each other, and everybody had a voice. And, not only was it good for us as catchers to learn our pitchers, but it's also good to get on the same page as the staff. And I think we accomplished that very well this offseason.
Seattle plays its first Cactus League game of the spring against San Diego. That's coming up on Saturday. And after an 11-year NFL career, Seattle Seahawks offensive guard Mike Iupati announced his retirement Monday. Iupati, who played his final 2 seasons for the Seahawks as their starting left guard, told the Spokesman Review that his goal was to hit 10 years, a goal he exceeded while still playing at a high level. Injuries, however, including a neck stinger in his final season, led to his decision to call it a career. A 4-time Pro Bowler and 1-time first-team All-Pro, Iupati spent most of his career in San Francisco and Arizona. The last stop of his career was a special one, even though it didn't last very long. He said, quote, "I fell in love with Seattle. The organization was first class. They were so good to me." Mike Iupati, done as a Seattle Seahawk. That's a look at sports news at 28 minutes past the hour here for a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee. Before we get into the obscure holiday and all that kind of fun stuff, let's take a morning slurp. So grab whatever you got. Water, bottled water, water with the little straw that you got for, working on the treadmill, whatever you're doing this morning, the hamster wheel, as they say, coffee, whatever that might be. I don't do coffee. I've never been able to drink coffee. And people look at me and they, "You hosted radio for how long and you never did coffee?" Nope. I tried it once. Graduated from high school, went to Hawaii. I thought, boy, gosh, if there's a place to try coffee, it's got to be Hawaii. Tried it. No. Tried it again in college. No. Couldn't do it. And just, I don't mind the smell. My wife will percolate a pot of coffee in the morning, and for her, and nice smell and everything, but just don't like the taste. So I much to the chagrin of my wife, I do Diet Coke. So whatever it is, happy Tuesday, 23rd of February, 2021. It's the morning slurp. There you go. That's a way to start the day. Another way to start the day is with our obscure holiday here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. The obscure holiday is the National Dog Biscuit Day. Now, Megan, were you able to get that video? Because we got to show this. This is a talented pooch right here. This is Labrador Retriever, and let's take a look. It's B-roll, so you can roll it without having any sound on it here, Megan. But this is impressive. Watch this video. That is impressive. Look at that. 4 biscuits stacked up on another biscuit that the pooch is holding on to. Oh, you gotta love the eyes of a lab, huh? It's like, come on, can I eat it? Can I eat it? International Dog Biscuit Appreciation Day is our obscure holiday. Of course, no one else would enjoy it more than a pooch. Dog biscuits invented accidentally in a London butcher shop during the late 1800s, believe it or not. According to the story, the shop's owner was trying to expand his business by creating a new biscuit recipe for his customers. After baking a batch, he tasted them and thought they were awful. So he gave it to his dog. How many times you done that at home where you make something and you're like, mm-mm. But the dog loves it. The dog gobbled it up and gave him an idea about making biscuits especially for dogs. He made his biscuits in the shape of a bone, and they began selling rapidly. Bennett Biscuit Company was established, and they began selling the dog biscuit under the name Malatoid. I don't know why in the world you just wouldn't call it a dog biscuit, but he called it Malatoid. Later, of course, Milkbone got a hold of it, and the rest is history. It's celebrating National Dog Biscuit Day. I know my dog Oakley is now living with my dad after my mom passed away. I thought that would be a good thing for him, both she and for Dad. And so I was over visiting here last weekend, and I looked at Oakley and I said, Oakley, you haven't missed many extra biscuits, have you? Put on a little extra weight this winter. Oh, she gave me that look like, it's okay, Dad, it's COVID. Today in history, let's throw the covers back. 1945. Very important day. U.S. Marines take the south end of Iwo Jima, including Mount Suribachi. After 5 days of bloody fighting, the now famous photo, as you see there, snapped by Associated Press photographer Joe Rosenthal. It was actually the second flag to be raised at the top of the 546-foot mountain. Upper brass at the bottom of the hill said they needed a bigger flag so they could see it, so the troops could see it and be invigorated with that flag on top of that mount after a 5-day battle. Sergeant Bill Janoust was the cinematographer who captured the flag raising on film. Let's take a look.
The Marines of the 28th Regiment spent 4 days in getting to the crest of the 556-foot-high mountain. Once again, the Marine spirit had been a prime factor in the capture of this difficult objective against great odds. On February 23, 1945, the Marines raised the U.S. flag atop Mount Suribachi as a signal to the troops below that the mountain was won. That flag was seen around the world. Finally, by March 25th, the men completed the job. After 36 days of the most bitter fighting American forces had ever known, the U.S. had all of Iwo. For that 8-square-mile heap of volcanic ash jutting out of the Pacific, the U.S. had paid an exorbitant price. The lives of 5,563 Marines and 982 sailors. In addition to the dead, the casualty figure showed some 19,000 men wounded in the battle for Iwo Jima.
The flag, by the way, the second flag, the bigger of the two flags that was raised on Mount Suribachi, is in the home of the Museum for the Marine Corps. By the way, of course, that famous statue now resides in Washington, D.C. If you've never been to Washington, D.C. as an American, I think it is our duty at some point in your lifetime to go there and to pay respects and to go to the Arlington National Cemetery. I've been able to make that trip one time in my life, and I was awed by it all. Talked to my dad on the phone last night about this day in history in 1945 and the battle at Iwo Jima. And my grandfather was in the Pacific Theater at that time as well in 1945. After Iwo Jima, my grandfather was part of the Army attached to the 3rd Marines in the invasion of Saipan. Dad tells stories. My grandfather never talked about it much. Dad said that only when Grandpa had a couple of nips would he talk about the war at all. He said that there was the first attack, I want to make sure I get this right, the Banzai attacks at the airfield where my grandfather was in Saipan. He shot his M1 on the first attack until the wood on the rifle caught fire. He said it was something else. Later in his life, they talk about post-traumatic stress, PTSD now. Back then, they just called it shell-shocked. My grandfather certainly had PTSD that my dad didn't even know about until 1973. He said that my grandfather went hunting out behind his house. They lived on 60 acres where my father still lives today. And he said that he stopped by later in the morning, and my grandfather was sitting there with a cup of coffee, kind of a blank look on his face. He says, "Well, how did the hunt go?" And my grandfather said, "I'm done." He says, "What do you mean?" He says, I'm not going to hunt anymore. He says, "I was out there, and all I could do was look in the trees for snipers." He says, "That's it. I'm done." 1973, after the war in 1945. It was on this date in 1977, there was a tie for Best Song of the Year in the Grammys. Historically speaking, there have been 27 ties for Grammys, but never for the best song. The Grammy was split between Barbra Streisand's Evergreen from A Star Is Born and Debbie Boone's You Light Up My Life. I had to listen to that song with my mother in the house over and over and over. She sang that song for my aunt's wedding back in the 70s. Interesting little Grammy note from 1977. Also on this date, 1980, a day after the Miracle on Ice, Eric Heiden skated into the record books at Lake Placid, winning the 10,000-meter race, setting a world record with his time, and winning an unprecedented 5th gold medal at the Games. In that era, it was unheard of for an athlete to do both a short skate, basically a sprint, and then also at the other end of it, winning a long distance race in 14 minutes, 28 seconds, and 13. By the way, Eric Heiden said he stayed up late to cheer on the U.S. hockey team the night before, overslept, grabbed a couple of pieces of bread, ate them on the way to the rink, and won the 10,000 and won his 5th gold medal. How about that? All right, let's go to our birthdays today. Celebrating birthdays, 1685, the birth of George Friedrich Handel. Born in Germany at age 27, he decided to move to London. He became a naturalized British citizen in 1727. He enjoyed early royal patronage and wrote the famous Water Music in 1717 for King George I on the River Thames. You'll recognize this. It's Suite Number 2 in D major, a la hornpipe. Oh, it's not on the folder. Oh, I messed that one up. Oh, we had a little culture for you this morning. I had 17 seconds of Handel this morning. Oh, well, that's okay. All right. I can sing it. No. No. Handel was big on, of course, violins in his composing. And, of course, the Messiah, composed in 1742, the Hallelujah Chorus, been a Christmas favorite ever since. George Friedrich Handel, born on this date in 1685. W.E.B. Du Bois was born on this date in 1868. In Great Barrington, Massachusetts, rose to national prominence as the leader of the Niagara Movement, a group of African-American activists who wanted equal rights for blacks. It eventually became the NAACP. It protested strongly against lynching, Jim Crow laws, and discrimination in education and employment. Kids, important guy to know. W.E.B. Du Bois, born on this date in 1868. Also, born on this date in 1889, Victor Fleming. That name should ring a bell for you. Victor was the director of The Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind, that won Academy Awards. He was born in Pasadena, California on this date in 1889. Hey, if you have a famous birthday of someone that's in your life, someone close at hand, you can send it to us here at the Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. You just send it to us via email. You can send it to us through Facebook. Let us know so we can talk about it on the air, or an anniversary. If someone is celebrating a big anniversary, we can do that as well. 38 minutes past the hour. We still have 2 of our candidates to meet this morning here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival Royal Selection Pageant. That's coming up this Saturday. We're going to introduce you to Olivia Fonville. She's the daughter of Jason and Shelley Fonville. That's coming up in a few moments. Also, Tatum Kentnor, who's the daughter of Tracy Trotter and Todd Kentnor. That's coming up right after Mike Magnotti's opinion. It's all right here on a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Thanks for joining us.
At Winco, we're working to save you money. Every aisle, every department, every day. Winco.
Today we're doing some employee development with our technicians.
Today we're going to learn how to give our home a hug.
It's not just a motto, but a unique way that Patriot technicians care for your home.
Oh, no, come on. You really got to get in there and get your arms around it, give it a good embrace. All right, hey, good job.
I think the training is going really well.
Heating and cooling will give your home a hug.
Link Transit is ready when you are. With enhanced health and safety measures, we've installed upgraded air purifiers and safety partitions between drivers and passengers. Plus, the interior of all of our buses are thoroughly cleaned and disinfected every day. When riding Link Transit, please remember to wear a mask, maintain physical distance, sign up for transit alerts, and stay home if you are sick. Healthier Transit is here. Go to linktransit.com to learn more.
What is it about Tipsy Canyon Winery that keeps people coming back? Is it the magnificent view from the hillside tasting room? Is it the exceptional but affordable wines? Or is it just the fact that you feel right at home from the minute you walk through the door? Actually, it's all this and more. Experience the Tipsy Canyon Winery located just outside of Manson. Your new home away from home.
Chelan Wireless is your Verizon authorized retailer featuring the latest iPhone and Android devices. Personal or business, they have the plan and the customer service you're looking for.
In these challenging times, Bear Foods is open and ready to help. From health to diet to home, we are here to take care of your needs. Bear Foods, the good food store.
From home furnishings to the latest in home entertainment technology, Deepwater Home and Electronics can provide the selection and the connection for your wireless world.
The 2021 models are arriving at Sangster Motors. General Motors is on the move with the all-new 2021 Yukon. Yukon is redesigned from the ground up with a bold new look and all the latest technology. Also new is the Canyon AT4 pickup. This off-road equipped mid-size truck will challenge any rival for performance and value. Both of these models will offer Duramax diesel options for maximum power and economy. The American Challenge is game on at Sangster Motors now.
Collins Fashions is looking forward to spring, but we know we still have many cool days ahead. So come help us transition from winter to spring and enjoy great savings on quality jeans, tees, sweaters, jackets, vests, coats, etc., etc. Jackets and coats are now 50% off and boots, and take an extra 20% off on red tag clothing. Spring fashions are arriving daily, so pop in and see colors and fashions that will freshen your wardrobe. Brighton's spring collection, handbags, and jewelry will definitely delight you. Collins Fashions, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. So you search all over town to find out what you're looking for. You find it, you wait in line, you pay for the item, you bring it home, but then you find out it's not right, or it doesn't work, or whatever, and you try to take it back, and sure, there's some places where this is no problem, but not everywhere, not by any stretch. Okay? This is one of the reasons why retail services like Amazon are such a success. Not only because of their convenience in returning an item for any reason, but because of the negative experience many of us had when attempting to do so with a local retailer. Customer service folks, hey, many businesses claim to practice customer service, but there really aren't too many that are doing it the right way. Many of them think they're doing you a favor by taking your money in the first place. Not good. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Highlander Grill and Golf Course is known as one of the finest wedding venues in the Wenatchee area. You do not have to be a member to come to Highlander. Highlander Golf Course offers a first-class backdrop for your wedding day. Our friendly professional staff will ensure your wedding and reception is picture perfect, from every moment leading up to the I-dos to when the lights go down at the end of your reception. Hi, I'm Shalane, site coordinator for Highlander Grill. Give me a call to schedule your event today.
Contractors, furniture makers, and weekend do-it-yourselfers around north central Washington will tell you that Lombard's Hardwood Supply is the place to get what you need. Lombard's full millwork shop can handle jobs large or small. Lombard's has a full line of interior and exterior doors available, as well as custom barn doors. From alderwood to zebrawood and everything in between, it's Lombard's Hardwood Supply on School Street in Sunny Slope. Like us on Facebook and check out our monthly special.
Winter is a great time to trade in your current hot tub. Turn your old hot tub into money with Blue Lagoon Pool & Spa's trade-in program. You can save $500 to $1,000 off of any new artesian spa or take advantage of a free Bluetooth music experience. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa recommends draining your hot tub every 3 months. Ask us about our drain and refill special. Stop on by Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa today.
Hi, my car's making a funny noise.
Not a problem. We'll take care of you.
Global Car Care's technicians are ASE Master Techs and well versed in the more refined methods of vehicular diagnostics.
Number 3 piston and rings have a slight loss of compression, down to 108 pounds. Your transmission is slipping. You're gonna need a service.
Looks like you all set.
These guys? They're good.
Oh, and your spare is flat.
Global Car Care, Wenatchee's top shop.
Thanks for watching the NCW Life Channel. I'm Eric Granstrom as we interview the top 10 candidates for the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival. Our coverage brought to you in part by Earthwise Pet. If your pet had a choice, they'd choose Earthwise. Joining us now, we have Olivia Fonville, who's the daughter of Jason and Shelley. Hi, Olivia. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, we can read your bio and all of that, but just tell us who Olivia is.
I'm Olivia Fonville. I've been a dancer at Fabulous Feet Dance Studio for 12 years. Some of my favorite things to do are go on night drives with my friends, drive around, listen to music, and hang out with my family and cook dinner with my mom.
Okay. Cheerleader as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell those of us who don't know anything about being a cheerleader about being a cheerleader. It's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah. Being a cheerleader was honestly a great experience. It was a lot different from dance because dance is an outside sport for me, so I never really performed in front of my peers. But being a cheerleader was really great because you try to bring up the spirit of all the teams that are playing out on the court, and you're down there with them too, just cheering them on. And my favorite part was actually stunting, though. The stunting was just an exhilaration.
So, being involved in dance for so long, you've also taken on the responsibility of teaching dance. Youngsters, who are you teaching?
Well, so I've been an assistant since I was about 8 years old.
Wow.
And those were 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and that was fun. There's just, they're just kind of funny to watch dance and try to help them. But then my junior year of high school, so last year, I taught one of the classes. The teacher had to be gone for a month-ish, and so I taught her class, and she was 15 and 16-year-olds. It was like a contemporary ballet class, so I taught that, and it was way different from teaching just the 3 and 4-year-olds. It was fun. I could actually connect with the older kids and help them get better.
Yeah. Why did you decide to run for Apple Blossom?
Well, when I was in 5th grade, I think it was, I remember getting the Junior Apple Blossom royalty thing in the mail, and I never got around to actually applying for that, but I always remember seeing the older girls with the crowns and going out on these pageants, and I always thought it was just so awesome. And I've always loved being a part of the community, and I feel like my last year here, it would be great to run for Apple Blossom and be able to do all the things that they do.
You say that your aunt is your most inspiring person. Why?
Growing up, I've always looked up to my aunt. She is actually a psychologist too, and that's what I want to be when I'm older. That's why I'm going to college, because I want to be a psychologist. And she's always been someone that I've always looked up to. She's always been nice, and she's a little strict sometimes, but that's how I want to be with my family, and so I look up to my aunt for that.
What's been the most challenging part of this pandemic for you?
The most challenging part is the social interaction. I love being around all of my friends and so many people, meeting new faces, and just to get to know everybody. And it sucks because with having masks on your face, you don't really get to see a person's face or their facial expressions, and you can't really meet new people that much because you're supposed to be with your family, home, and not out doing things. And I miss going out and doing things a lot.
Yeah, as do we all. What's the number one thing adults need to understand about teenagers?
I say how teenagers always want to try new things to express themselves. So if you want to go out and get your hair cut short, even though your mom's not going to like it, I say you do it. It doesn't matter what your mom's going to say, because teenagers always want to try a whole bunch of new things and do whatever they want until they know what they want is set in stone and they're an adult. And so I've always wanted to try new things, even though my mom's maybe for cheer, for instance, I wanted to try cheer really bad. I wanted to know what it was like to do sport in school and not just be in dance. Mom was like, you're gonna miss dance. And I was like, but I want to try something new. So, and I'm glad I did, so.
If you could describe something to someone that's not from here, the best thing about the Wenatchee Valley, what would you say?
I would say the best thing about Wenatchee Valley is the fresh air. Because every time I go out of state or to a different country or anything, coming back is the first thing I notice is how fresh the air is. It's not humid or sticky or anything like that. It's just really nice to feel.
It is the night of February 27th. The pageant is over, and you're a queen. Who do you thank?
I would thank my mom and my dad because throughout this whole entire experience, they have always made sure I've been on top of everything, and they're always saying, don't be late, don't do this. And they've always supported me through all of this, and that's who I would thank.
All right. Well, best of luck in the rest of this process.
Thank you.
Olivia Fonville, she is the daughter of Jason and Shelley, and she's one of our top 10 candidates here on the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival Royalty Selection Pageant presented by Cashmere Valley Bank. It's coming your way on Saturday, the 27th of February. We'll start our coverage with a countdown to coronation at 6 o'clock, and then, of course, the pageant at 7 right here on the NCW Life channel. It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you. Wenatchee Power Sports not only has a new owner, but an all-new attitude to match. Speaking of attitude, check out the 2021 models arriving now. Polaris snowmobiles, ATVs and side-by-sides. Yamaha motorcycles, watercraft ATVs and side-by-sides. KTM motorcycles and the latest edition Beta high-performance motorcycles. Coming this fall, a huge demo event featuring the latest and hottest off-road machines. It's all at the retuned Wenatchee Power Sports, where maximum performance is a way of life. 3031 GS Center Road in North Wenatchee, open Tuesday through Saturday.
Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue.
Currently, Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is open for dine-in and take-out. Owner Justin Hefner and his staff are just as excited as you to get back to their regularly scheduled full menu, music, and poker. So stay tuned. Meanwhile, Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is serving a limited menu for lunch and dinner, dine-in or take-out.
Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
You love to help others. You need a solid career. You can have it all with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take patient vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain medical records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, visit chartercollege.edu because we work to get you to work.
It's the Apple Blossom Top 10 Candidate Interviews here on the NCW Life channel. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Granstrom. Our coverage is brought to you in part by Confluence Health. Better together, your care, your community. Our next candidate to have a little moment under the spotlight is Tatum Kentnor. She's the daughter of Tracy Trotter and Todd Kentnor. Hi there.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. This is probably kind of a crazy thing, isn't it?
It's been definitely very crazy.
Tell us a little bit about yourself so that folks kind of get to know, okay, this is who Tatum is.
Well, I'm a senior at Wenatchee High School, and my life is involved with dance, pageants, musical theater, all that type of stuff. So I've always been performing since I was younger, and that's just the biggest part about my life right now, and I'm excited to be on another stage and perform and talk to a lot of more people.
In your bio, talks about open hearts, open minds. What is that?
So Open Hearts, Open Minds, Supporting Differences in Teens is my personal platform, and the heart is about compassion, the mind is for understanding, and it just targets and surrounds people that grew up feeling different in any way, like if you are on the spectrum, the autism spectrum, or if you're bullied because you're dyslexic or you can read, anything like that. I just want to bring everyone who thinks that they're different together and realize that it's normal and it's okay to be that way.
That's awesome. Good for you. Why did you choose to do this and be part of Apple Blossom?
Well, ever since I was in 5th grade, there was a junior royalty, and I didn't get into that, so I always looked up to the older girls every year. I'm like, wow, I can't wait to try for that. I can't wait to be on stage and get this amazing opportunity to get my platform across and just to be on stage in front of so many people. And it's by the time it came around, I was like, oh, maybe I'll try it. I don't know if I'll get into top 10. And what do you know? I got into top 10, so I guess it's my time to take a turn as one of the big girls.
Absolutely. So you're involved with Special Olympics Winter Games.
Yes.
What's the best part for you of that?
Probably the opening ceremony. So every one of the athletes, they get to take a lap around the town Toyota Center, and there's people on the side that just high-five them and congratulate them, and seeing all the athletes and how happy they are just to be part of it is really exciting for me.
Deloma Ensley Sherwood. She's a former queen, right?
Yes,
So
73.
You mentioned her as the person who inspired you. How so?
Well, she has kind of been like my grandma growing up. Probably only since middle school. She's just been a big influence on my family, and whenever something hard was going on, me and my mom always knew that we could go to her and her family and they would take care of us.
What's the most challenging thing for you during this pandemic?
Just the social interactions. Since I get to go back to school, it's helped a lot. And even if I don't have classes with friends, just getting to see people is so much more helpful, because if I stay in my house all day and I don't even leave to go on a walk or go on a drive, I kind of go crazy. So just getting to see people and see their smiles is really, well, see their smiles under their mask is really amazing.
Yeah, you can see it in their eyes, really, honestly. What's the number one thing adults need to know about kids that we might not get?
Well, kids and teens, they process things and they work through things differently in their head than adults do. Even if you're neurotypical or not neurotypical, just like me, it's really hard for them to process things and think through it. So they might take a little bit extra time, or they might just have their own way of thinking and their own path to get to the answer.
Okay, so just give them a chance to chill.
Just give them a chance to think through it.
All right, I got you. For someone who's not from here, what would you tell them is the best thing about the Wenatchee Valley?
Probably the sunrises and sunsets. I love them so much. Over quarantine, me and a couple of friends, we would all pull up in our separate cars and we would get up super early to watch the sunrises in the valley. And since it's been like all gloomy and snowy and not so happy weather, we haven't gotten to see them, but every time we get the chance, we go up to Badger Mountain to watch the sunset, or we go over to Skyline to watch the sunrise.
Good plan. It's February 27th. We're done with pageant. You're queen. Who do you thank?
Probably the judges, because they're the ones who picked me to be queen, but I would probably have to thank the Apple Blossom Board, because they work every day so hard to get us ready for the pageant. My mom, obviously, because she's my #1 supporter and she's the one who's been raising me for most of my life. And just my friends who told me to keep your head up, keep going, you're gonna get through this.
Well, congratulations on being part of the top 10.
Thank you.
And best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Tatum Kentnor is our latest candidate to join us here on the NCW Life Channel. Don't forget, you'll see Tatum and the rest of the crew on Saturday the 27th. Our countdown to coronation starts at 6, and of course the Cashmere Valley Bank Royalty Selection Pageant at 7 o'clock right here on the NCW Life Channel.
At Washington Trust Bank, can't is a 4-letter word.
I think I'll sell my veggies at the market.
Do you even remember to water the house plants? I do this?
You can do this.
Hey, we need to build a home office. We're adding another bathroom.
I think I'll study programming.
Bro, you even connect your phone to Bluetooth.
We believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, and we'll help you get there. Washington Trust Bank, privately owned, locally invested.
A whole minute left here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this Tuesday, the 23rd of February, 2021. Forecast calling for sunshine today. High temperature of 44, 26 the overnight low tonight. Maybe a chance of rain or snow returning. Sunny tomorrow and 44. We're off to a cool start this morning with temperature of 36 in downtown Wenatchee. Be sure and join us tomorrow for another edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, where we'll introduce you to another 2 candidates. Tomorrow we'll get to know a little more about Brooke Perez and Alex Toth right here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Also tomorrow, of course, get you the latest news, the weather forecast, what's happening in the passes. Speaking of the passes, right now, Stevens Pass is reopened. Looked like chains were required here at last check from the Department of Transportation. Chains required on all vehicles except over all-wheel drive vehicles. Snowing and snow on the roadway, but the good news is Stevens Pass has reopened this morning. Hey, it's International Dog Biscuit Appreciation Day. I have one. Yeah, it's better for the dogs. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.